Hey everybody, Jake from Amtryke again. Today we're going to show you how to swap your Pro Series trike from direct drive to freewheel. So I'll have Adam jump in here real quick to show what we're talking about. So back here on the rear axle, there are two gears. This one is on the black gear, which is a direct drive, meaning if the wheels move forward, the pedals move forward. If the wheels move backward, the pedals move backward. So there's no way to coast down a hill or freewheel. So just beside it, there's a gold gear that I can spin freely, just like this. And that, when you pedal forward, will push the trike forward, but when you pedal backward, it will make that clicking noise and it will allow you to coast down a hill. So most of our trikes are going to come standard in direct drive, for our Pro Series, that is. So those will come standard in direct drive, and we're going to show you how to move it over to freewheel. And one safety feature we'll note is if you're moving to freewheel, we do suggest that you add a rear disc brake. Standard, these only come with a front caliper brake, and we recommend adding the rear disc if you're going to be moving to freewheel, just because there's potential to be moving a little bit faster, so it's good to have that second brake. So we'll move into the tools that you need for the swap. So you'll need a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, a 10mm wrench or socket, and then your trike should have come with what we call an S wrench. It has a 5mm Allen and a 6mm Allen built into it. These should be the 3 tools that we need to do the job. And our first step is going to be to remove our chain guard here. And the reason that we have this front wheel up on this box is because of our lower chain guard bolt. So it would be really difficult to get to this bolt if we didn't have the front wheel up off the ground. So that's why we have it set up this way. So it's actually going to be the first thing that we jump into. So we're going to use our number 2 screwdriver, and we're going to jump into this one first. And we're going to go lefty-loosey. Just going to spin that off. There's one. Set it to the side, and we've got 2 more. So there's one up top here. Again, using the number 2 screwdriver. Lefty-loosey. And then we have one here in the back. And we don't have to remove this chain guard completely. We just need to set it to the side. So there's our 3 screws. Now we can grab this and we can rotate it out of the way. So you can see here, this is our tensioner assembly. This is what we need to loosen completely so that we can move that chain over. Right now that chain's pretty tight and it's not going to go anywhere. So we're going to use our S wrench and our number 10 wrench. So on this side, we're going to use our 10mm wrench. And then on the opposite side, we're going to use our 5mm Allen wrench. So I'm going to go just back here. So I've got it on that bolt there. And I'm going to work from the front side. I'm going to loosen. And I don't want to remove this all the way. I just need to loosen it so that we can slide it back and forth. Okay, so there it's loose. And here on the bottom, there is a gold nut that I'm spinning with my finger. What I want to do is I want to spin that all the way up until it bottoms out. And I'm holding the chain in place right now. But now that I have that gold nut moved and I slide this down, my chain is completely loose. So now we can go ahead and come to the back here. So this is where our black and gold gear come into play. So I can rotate it off of the black onto the gold. Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to try to get it off of this tensioner. Like that. Now we've got plenty of slack to move it from gear to gear. So I'm going to start from the bottom and I'm going to work my way across. So I just got it moved over to the gold gear. All I did was pull away and over to get it off of the teeth of the black gear over to the gold gear. Now we're going to come back to our tensioner and we're just going to push the chain back over here can be a little difficult. Get it started. And one thing that will help if you're having trouble like I am, loosen that nut just a little bit more. That'll give you just a little bit more room for it to move. There we go. Perfect. So now we're back on there. And we're not going to retighten this just yet. We just want to make sure that everything is going to go back in place. So that's at the very bottom. I'm going to push this gear up. But again, I'm not worried about tension. And I'm going to spin our gold nut back down. And that's just going to hold it in place until we get this tight. So now the last thing we need to do with the chain is make sure that our front gear and our rear gear line up. Because more than likely from the factory, the black gear and the silver gear in the front were lined up. We've now moved it over to the gold gear, so it may not be perfectly aligned. So if you come to the front of the trike, you can see frame at him. You'll see that it's pointing toward the wheel on this side, meaning that it's not lined up. So what we're going to do is use our S-wrench, but we're going to use not the 5mm side, we're going to use the 6mm side. There is a bolt that holds the black and gold gear onto the rear axle right here. And all I'm going to do is put the large side of my S-wrench in there and go lefty-loosey. These will be tight. You don't want those to move. Okay. I just broke that free. And I don't want to remove that completely. Now, as you can see, I can slide this gear back and forth on the shaft. So now that it's loose, I moved it over maybe 3/8 of an inch. It was sitting directly on this bearing. So now I'm going to go back around to the front, and I'm going to let the camera look from the front as well to see how our alignment is between front and back. And I think that looks pretty close. Yep. So that looks good. So now I'm going to take my S-wrench again. I'm going to go back to this black bolt. Now, instead of lefty-loosey, I'm going to go righty-tighty. Yeah. And again, you do not want this bolt to come loose, so pretty tight. Okay, good. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and retension our chain. We've got it wrapped around the gold gear in the rear, the silver gear in the front. We want to make sure that the chain is on both gears all the way. We're not skipping any teeth. We're not sitting off to the side. So that looks good. So now we can go ahead and apply our tension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push back on the small tensioning gear here, and I'm going to hold it in place while I work from behind on this gold nut, and I'm going to spin it all the way down until it gets to this small red barrel. I want to get it bottomed out to there. Okay, that's about as far as I can get it by hand. And I've got some chain tension, but not enough. And since I've already loosened this gear here, once I go to tighten it, it's going to apply more tension to this chain. So we'll start there. We'll grab our 10mm wrench here in the front. And our 5mm in the back. We're going to go righty-tighty. You can see that gear starting to come up just a little bit as it gets tighter. And before I go all the way tight, I'm going to check my tension. I've got some chain tension and a little bit of wiggle, which is perfect. Now we can go ahead and finish tightening. Good. Okay, so now the chain's retensioned. We've moved to the gold gear. Everything looks good. We just need to reinstall our chain guard. So we're just going to slide it back in the way. Grab the 3 screws we set to the side earlier. We're just going to start these by hand. So we're going to start with the top front. We're going to move the bottom front, and then we're going to move to the back. Again, we don't want to tighten any one of these before we get all three started because this is slightly adjustable. So, go ahead, grab our number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, tighten top front, bottom front, tighten the rear. Now, chain guards reinstalled, chains properly tensioned, and now we can freewheel the trike. So before, when we tried to turn this backwards, it wouldn't move because it's locked with the wheels. Now we should be able to freewheel in reverse, and everything looks good. So when I go backward, I get clicking. When I go forward, it's wanting to engage the front wheels. So that's how you change from direct drive to freewheel on your Pro Series Amtryke. Thank you.